Hello, welcome to Do It Yourself with Wayne. Today we're going to do a product review on this Greenworks 8.5 amp cultivator. It is corded, so you'll need a drop cord. It is not battery operated. I did buy it used, but it's been used very little, so it's like new. And I've been working around the house here today, several different places. I bought it mostly for my raised beds, which is pretty soft soil to start with, but I've tried it in a couple places where the ground's a little harder. And this tool, like every tool, there's good points and bad points. And in my videos, I always try to cover the bad points as well as the good points. So that's what you can expect if you keep watching this video. And I'd just like to say, Do It Yourself with Wayne is all about teaching you how to do things yourself to save money. And product reviews is one of the ways that we can help you to save money by not buying a product that doesn't suit your needs. So that's our goal. So let's get on with reviewing this product. Now, as I said earlier, I bought this used, so it was already assembled. But when you get this, it'll come in a box. You got these little knobs here to put this handle on. The little knobs here to put this handle on. It's pretty easy to assemble. There's not too much else for the upper part. The bottom part you got to put the tines on, and I'm gonna readjust the camera and show you that a little bit closer. Now my tines are already, and these are called tines. Some people call them blades, but in the tiller world they're called tines. But you got a pin here, and I'm not sure, but in the owner's manual it shows a winch pin instead of a clip like this. It's the kind that you push it through and then you flip a part over. So I don't know if this is just something they're doing now instead of that, but you should get pins to go through here. Anyway, your blades come off like this. There'll be a little felt washer and your other blade. And your other blade, and I'll show you a picture of this up in the corner, but there's a little arrow and there's a letter. And your tines go from A, B, C, D. But you can also look at the arrow that's on the tines to show which way it should turn, and they go this way. So always make sure you install them in the correct direction. And another thing I would point out, just in routine maintenance, before you put your tiller away for the day or whatever, take your tines off and look for stuff that gets caught right in here, because little roots will get in there and that can interfere with the bearings. So it's good to just, take a little time and clean that off. So anyway, this tine is labeled C. So I put it down that way. This way is wrong. Put it on so that the arrow is pointing in the proper direction. So it goes on that way. Felt washer, put the felt washer on. And then this is labeled D. Here again, the arrow is pointing, shows which way it should turn. Make sure your arrow is pointing in the correct direction. Like I said, the blades turn from this way and go down. So make sure the arrow is pointing in the correct direction. Slide that one on and put your pin in the hole. When you're doing this, be careful that your hand doesn't slip, because a lot of times it will. These blades can be sharp and they can cut you, so be careful you don't get cut. I don't like gloves, but it would be a good idea to wear gloves when you're doing this, because like I said, these little tines can get pretty sharp and they can hurt. Even if they don't hurt you, you can end up getting bruised. So anyway, that's how you put it together. So now let's move on. Now there's one thing I forgot to tell you on assembly. You got your wheels here that has to be put in. They just slide out from the bottom. There's a little pin that goes through there. It's pretty easy to add the wheels to the bottom. There's also a little bit of an adjustment for height, for how high or low you want the wheels, based on how deep you want to dig and that sort of thing. Now, in order to start your tiller, first off, you got to have your drop cord connected. I always put a little half twist there so it doesn't come unplugged so easily. And I can tell you, this used to be my mom's drop cord. She used to trim her hedges a lot, and with her hedge trimmer she would tend to cut her drop cord. I got at least 2 or 3 like this. My mom would bring them to me and say, "Can you fix this for me?" And I always say yes. I'd fix it and keep it and buy my mom a brand new drop cord, because I didn't want my mom using one that had been repaired. But be careful with your drop cords that you don't run over them, because you know, the way things move around, it's real easy to get this cord caught up in the tines of the tiller, and that's bad news. But anyway, to get it started, you got a button here. If you press that button, nothing happens. You got a handle here. You pull that handle, nothing happens. What you got to do is press the button and hold it, then pull the handle. And that'll make it start. You don't have to keep holding the button after it starts. I'll show you again. Press the button, pull the handle. And as long as you hold the handle up here, it'll keep running, but when you release it, it will stop. So anyway, that's getting it started. Now at this point, we're going to get started doing some tilling. And you know, as I go along, I'm going to give you my pros and cons throughout the video. And Greenworks, if you're listening, my biggest problem with this device so far is you need a handle right here. A lot of the videos I've seen, the comments that I've seen about the tool in different places, people are using these a lot in raised beds. Well, to get it in the raised bed, you got to pick it up and put it in there. You can mold in a handle right here in the plastic. You could put a little handle right here. This is about the center of gravity, or the center of the weight. But a handle would help a lot. It's not a deal breaker, but it would be really nice to have a handle there. So that's my first negative. So let's do some tilling. Got my drop cord plugged in, the power's on back at my breaker box, so I do turn it off sometimes. Push the button, pull the handle, it starts. Release the button, now we can till. Now if you watch that, it tended to want to lunge forward. I'm going to move over a little bit where I haven't tilled before, and I'm going to do that again. I want you to watch it, how it tends to want to lunge forward if I'm just trying to move forward without any other action. All right, watch this. If you notice how it kept wanting to lunge forward, well, what I've learned is you can prevent that by holding it back more. And I'm going to start it. Now watch this time. I'm going to hold the handles a little bit more securely so it can't, but I'm going to do this number back and forth a little bit, which will help it dig and pull forward, but without lunging quite as much. I think it cuts a little better that way. All right, watch this. Well, looks like my power's off. Let me go check my breaker. Okay, that was not a problem with the tiller. I was plugged into a ground fault outlet, and I think my breaker's going bad because it trips sometimes when it shouldn't. But I got it plugged into a different breaker now. So here we go again. And watch, like I said, how I do this with the handles to make it move forward a little more and a little bit better control. There we go. You may have also noticed when I was down here, it was still wanting to lunge forward, but after I got up into the bed myself where my personal body was higher, I had more control, and it just made it work a little bit smoother if you let it dig a little bit deeper and do this number as you move forward. So that does help it dig a little bit better. Next, I'm going to show you how it does in some dirt that's a little bit harder that hasn't been tilled in a very long time. I'm out here in my front yard. And right now the soil is not particularly hard because we've had so much rain recently, but right now it's the hardest dirt that I've got. So I'm going to till a little bit of this now so you can see how it does on that. So mash the button, pull the handle. So there you go, that's it. Now another negative that I've got about this tiller, and you may have heard it hit a few little rocks like this. I've seen several comments on forums and stuff that people hit a rock and it bound up in the tines, and then their tiller just wouldn't run anymore, or the motor would run but the tines didn't turn. If something happens, whether you hit a root, a rock, or whatever, if you're running it and something happens that the tines can't turn, make sure you release the handle as quickly as possible, because if you don't, you can do damage to either the gearbox in the bottom or the motor itself or something. So just be aware of that. But anyway, I just went over this 3 times. I went right there and my phone rang while I was doing it, so I started over. So that's why there's a little spot there. But anyway, I went over this 3 times. You can see how it does work. It's a little bit slow, but this is a lightweight cultivator. I don't think it's really intended for doing primary tilling of an area. It's more intended for cultivating something that's been tilled up already. But it will do it. You just have to take your time. Now, if you're enjoying my videos so far, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me with the YouTube algorithms to get more traffic, and which helps bring you more videos like this. But this bed, as you can see, I've gone through it several times. It is a raised bed, so the dirt's fairly soft to start with, but I had some weeds that were coming up in here over the winter time, and that's kind of what I get when I run this thing through my raised bed. So that'll give you an idea of what it looks like after I've finished cultivating through here, getting it ready for spring planting. And now for my final review. I've got 3 cultivators here. I got the really cheap version. Does a good job, a lot of work. I got the Greenworks cultivator. Not terribly expensive, does a good job, not really meant for heavy duty work. I got my old-fashioned tiller, and that thing will cut through about anything. And I don't have it here at the house, but I also got a little John Deere tractor that would be sitting over there if it was here, but it's not. But anyway, every tool has its workplace, has its strengths and weaknesses. This thing will cut through about anything. This thing won't. But if you're using it for cultivating in your garden, in your raised beds, around your flowers, it does a great job. This does a great job too. It's very cheap, but it's a lot more work. So you got to decide what tool is right for you when you purchase a tool. And you know, when I do product reviews like this, I hope that it helps you to purchase and spend your money wisely. And if you think I'm doing that, please click like on my video, subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of videos, I got a lot of tool reviews, a lot of home repairs, things of that nature that can help you save money. And so with that said, well, one more thing I'm missing here. I put a link to the website for Greenworks in the description. And if you need a new owner's manual, if you've lost yours or didn't have one, I put a link to the owner's manual in the manufacturer's website. I'll also put a link where you can purchase one of these if you would like to purchase one. All that'll be in the description. So with that being said, I'd just like to say I really appreciate you visiting Do It Yourself with Wayne. We hope you have a great day.